Hey gang, this is John Newton, Snap-on John 100, and I'm out after work just for an enjoyable evening, and I got a couple of cool goodies I wanted to try. One of them is the Ontario Knife Company / Hedgehog Leatherworks Blackbird, and the other item is a firebox stove, folding stove. And so I thought I would just do a couple of tasks with the knife and get the stove out. Alright, the knife I'm going to be using, one of the tasks I'm going to do is, as I usually try to do, is to make a bow drill set, because that's a survival task that is really important to be able to do if you have that skill. And so the knife I'm going to be using is the Ontario Blackbird 5. That I got was the one that comes from Ontario, and it's a ballistic nylon sheath. It's got a snap closure that I really like. It's not Velcro, and it's MOLLE compatible. I'll be doing a tabletop eventually on it's got a stainless blade. It's an 1/8 of an inch thick. It's got a really large height profile. It's got a spear point blade, which is my favorite, and it's got looks like canvas micarta scales and a very generous lanyard hole. A full tang, of course, and it feels extremely robust, but it's only an 1/8 of an inch thick. Very great profile. So I'm going to be I got a piece of wood here I cut that's dead. I'm going to try to make a bow drill set out of this piece of wood. I've got another piece that I sawed this off of that I can use for a spindle or whatever if this doesn't split out good. I'll also be saving this bark. The inner bark from basswood is fantastic for making your bird's nest. See how stringy that is? working pretty well. I'm just going to have to whittle this down, I think. Beater stick I'm using is a phenomenal. It's made out of hawthorn and feels like a piece of iron. Pretty sharp. I'm pretty pleased with it so far. It's really comfortable. So far I'm pleased with it, the way it cuts and the way it feels in my hand. And I have virtually no stainless heavy knives, so it'll be kind of nice to have one. Okay, that's good enough. So I'm going to make a gradual tapered point on this side. want to make sure that you keep the tip of this centered in the axis in which it's going to spin so that it doesn't wobble. So every once in a while you want to check it. See if you need to take some more off on one side or the other. Okay, that's pretty good right there. This side, I'm just going to blunt off into a fast taper. So you just keep making facets until you end up with a kind of a blunt point. Or not a blunt point, but a fast tapered point. Like that. Because it'll change its shape as soon as you start using it. That's good right there. Okay. So that's the heated end, and this is the end that goes up in the bearing surface. If I can get some of this bark off. That looks like that'll work. It's about 1/2 inch thick. You want to make sure the sides are squared off. And the way I position my divot is I line the edge of the spindle up flush with the edge of the hearth board, and then what I do is I make a mark where that is, and then I bring the other, then I bring that, move it in 1/2 a width. So one here, let's mark it there, and then right there. Then I mark it, and then I'll take the handy spear point blade, I put this lanyard on here. It's too long. It's going to start being annoying pretty soon. Okay. What we're going to do next is seat this. Okay, I'm going to seat this notch So to load the bow, you always want to come up through the center with the, this end is going to be down, so you come up through it and then just twist it back on itself like this. And then it's on the outside of the string. If it's on the inside of the string, it will bind on each end, and you can yank it out of the out of its notch. So I'm just going to seat this for right now. Okay. We got it's seated. I'm going to take a small saw that's on my Swiss Army knife. I forget which model this is, but I really love it. It's got a locking blade, main blade. And we're going to start by just putting the saw right dead center of that black spot so that we can make the notch that centers the notch for me. And I just carefully cut, not to the center, just stop shy of the center of that blackened area. Okay, just like that. It's right there. Just like that. Now we're going to chamfer the two bottom, so the front, so that there's a lot of room for the dust to accumulate, plus a lot of oxygen can get in there. Most of the trouble that you have with your bow drill problems is not enough oxygen. If you can get smoke, but you can't get an ember, most of the time it's because there's not enough oxygen. Alright, I'm going to do the rest of this with my Blackbird Survival Knife. Especially this time of night, you want to make sure that you keep your spindle off the ground because it will attract moisture. So I'm going to continue fixing this notch. I'm doing it this way because you always want to cut away from your hand, and I'm close to the end, so I don't have a handle to really hold on to. I like to put them in the center, but this was the right thickness and everything right at the end, so I just went ahead and went with that. Okay, there I got my notch. Right there's the notch, and the chamfer is right there. Okay, once again, I'm using the Ontario Blackbird with a spear point, 1/8 inch thick steel, stainless. And there's the snap closure. It's on a hinge. I really like this design where they've got it hinged here, because it stays centered. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to create an ember here. Let's see if I can let you see. ember forming. Okay. I'm using a straight bow, which I like because of the control. It's actually made out of a piece of oak molding. The molding is called Cove, and I put 3 holes in this end, so it can adjust the tension super easy, and it locks on itself. I'll show you that in a minute. The bearing, I'm using this for a bearing block. It's the one that I'm selling for a Scout fundraiser. It actually has a bearing inserted in it. It's got a thrust bearing underneath that regular radial bearing, and it's got a stainless insert in the center. So we'll see how this works. There you have it. Ember created from a bow drill set made by the Ontario / Hedgehog Leatherworks Blackbird. Fantastic knife. It's relatively inexpensive. I got that one for $109, free shipping. So you can get good deals on eBay. I think what I'm going to do is I'll probably have a part 2 for the... It's getting late, so I'm going to have a part 2 for using the firebox folding stove, because by the time I get packed up, it'll be getting pretty dark. Well, thank you for joining me with this fun task, and I will, oh, I wanted to show you, I'll show you real quickly the, I wanted to show you the adjustment feature of my drill, of my bow. This sheath also you can hold either left or right-handed. The way this works is you drill 3 holes in this, and as you can see, you drill one in the end, put a knot in it, and then you come up through the center hole right here. You come up through the center hole, and then you go back down through the front, the first hole that's towards the other end, and then you come back up through the last hole on the end, and you put it through this loop. And that locks it down. Just that easy. And that's why I like using a straight bow. It's real controllable, but you need to be able to, since you don't have access to putting your finger on it to tighten it up, you need to have it really easily adjustable, and that's super easy. Okay? Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned for part 2, and if I'm lucky I might be able to get to do that tomorrow. I might even do that in my yard. It's just easy to set that thing up, and mostly it's me showing you how to set it up and making a fire in it. But if you enjoyed this, please subscribe to my channel, like the video. I covet your comments, so please comment. If you have any suggestions or questions, feel free to ask me. And once again, until we meet again, God bless.